I'm Ryan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Razz Reviews. I know it hasn't been much of a countdown. I haven't been really good about it, but now is the time to release our review for Gojira, the original 1954 Godzilla film.
Yay.
Also known in the 1956 re-edit was Godzilla, King of the Monsters, which is, we're reviewing this because the release of the new Godzilla, King of the Monsters is going to be out, if this video is out on time, today! And we'll be seeing it the next day. And we are pretty pumped for it.
Yes.
Before we get started, I'd like to say this little trooper, I'm so proud of her. She got through the whole thing.
Barely.
But yes, this film originally came out in 1954. And it was in our good classic black and white. So, Crystal, why don't you go ahead, give the audience your perspective of seeing this for the very first time, not being a typical Godzilla giant monster kaiju kind of person. Fan, I would say.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give your opinion.
Well, as Ryan had said, I barely made it through the movie. Because as you guys know, I am kind of an anime fan, so I've seen, so I'm familiar with some of the Japanese storytelling.
Yep.
This one, I couldn't quite grasp it, though. Considering it was made in the 50s.
Yeah, made in the 50s.
So I really couldn't latch onto it as well as I could before, because there were some things where I was just like, I was watching it, and I was just like, okay.
Confused.
Yeah. Because he had to tell me so.
Yeah. So, why don't you go ahead and tell him your favorite part about the movie? Do I need to remind you? Because you told me, like, pretty much after we watching it, and I asked you, so what's your favorite part? And you're like, the part where you explain most of the things.
Pretty much.
My commentary during it. She pretty much the favorite part about the movie was just watching me explain and
getting
this
stuff.
Watching my enjoyment.
Or like he's looking back at me and I have like this weird look on my face. He'd be like, something wrong? And I'm just like, ah.
Yeah, so basically her enjoyment and experience of the film was just watching me watch it, basically. I mean, and I'll say this, it's definitely a film that's not for everyone. I mean, this is a genre that I feel like is a hit or miss for people. At least that's what I've kind of experienced from talking to people. It seems like a lot of people, when it comes to giant monster movies, it's either I love it, I hate it, or I'm okay with it. I mean, that's as far as the three experiences I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's usually how it comes. For you, you're like in that middle because you like some of the more modern stuff, but you're not really into the big older stuff.
Well, I was more what's the word for it? I want to say like growing up, we were more to the modernized version. Yeah. You know, is when they started like doing more stuff in like the 2000s to now. Yeah. So like not used to seeing some of the older stuff. And
I'll admit, like some of the more around where I was born, those are kind of more of my favorite Godzilla films, with the exception of this one, obviously. But I really like Godzilla Final Wars is one of my favorite Godzilla movies, which I'll review sometime down the line. But yeah, the older ones, I think you have to be a real kaiju big monster movie fan. I feel like, at least in my opinion, you have to be that kind of way to kind of get into those older movies. Yeah. Because I can definitely see from an outside perspective, like, this is boring, this is cheesy, the effects are so dated, why do you watch this garbage?
Well, it wasn't really that. Like, granted, I already knew some information about Godzilla in regards to it, but I'd never actually seen some of the older ones. I saw, what was the last one made in 14?
The 2014 is the most modern one.
Yes.
With the exception of like as far as American ones, because technically the last Godzilla film that Japan had made was Shin Godzilla, which ashamedly I have not watched yet. I need to.
Oh, I'll say like American-based because I was familiar because I watched like some of the animated ones, and then you've told me some more information. But like actually seeing one of the older ones for the first time, it was kind of interesting because as you said, the fact that they were able to make him look big, in the movie, and then versus the little people
stuff. Like, seeing the average Japanese person lay down, on the ground versus look way in the background. There he is. Oh my gosh, look how huge he is.
Yes.
I still geek over that stuff because I think it's just so cool to see. Because we grew up with Power Rangers, for Pete's sakes. We kind of saw that kind of thing before. We've seen that suitmation being used, and this is where it was introduced, was Godzilla. And this film has a huge legacy because it set the groundwork for a lot of kaiju movies for later on. We would get Gamera out of this, and then of course I think Power Rangers. If it weren't for this movie, I don't think we would have gotten Power Rangers the series.
Probably not.
I think, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I don't care. But yeah, so let's go right into the film, kind of now. Let's go ahead and get the ugliness out of the way. So, what didn't you like about it, Crystal?
The one problem I had was it just the female actor who played Emilio.
Amiko. I believe. Amiko.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry. I'm also as much of a fan of him. I still have problems with remembering every single character.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure it's Omiko.
Emiko, I think.
Omiko.
But I felt like it's nothing against the actress, but I felt like her screams were over dramatized too much. Okay,
like as bad as the girl from King Kong, the original. Because she was dramatic, but yeah, that scream's iconic. I think I like that scream.
I think it was more dramatized.
Okay. You think it was you felt this actress was way more over dramatic than she was?
Yeah, like it was to the point where it felt like it was a bit cheesy,
Okay. All right, fair enough. Keep going.
Yeah, because every so often you hear like that, and I was just like, okay.
You're just not buying. Yeah, she really just didn't buy it.
I didn't.
Yeah, she.
That was my only thing for the movie. I was just like, some of the other stuff I was like, okay.
You just really couldn't suspend your disbelief too much for some reason.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Amiko. Yeah, Amiko was her name.
Okay, so it was Amiko.
Amiko. She was played by Momoko Kochi. So.
Momokochi.
Yeah. She's better at pronouncing. She's better at pronouncing Japanese stuff. But yeah, anything else that you didn't like that you'd like to point out?
At the beginning, again, kind of the disbelief that all these,
the big flash.
The big flash. I was like, ah!
Yeah.
that one felt a bit dramatized as well, too.
Over dramatic, you mean?
Yeah.
So. again, that's fair. I feel like I kind of expect these kind of things out of watching it, and it's kind of why I get the enjoyment out of it, too. Because of some of that cheesiness.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff for me. But yeah, now we can get... okay, well, I guess I should say anything that I don't like about it. This is actually the second time I've actually watched this.
Yeah.
Since I got it back when 2014 Godzilla was being released and they were releasing all the old ones.
Mm-hmm.
I got my hands on it and I was so happy to get my hands on it. I loved it. The first time I watched it, I thought it was awesome, but I will admit, like, the effects are definitely dated. Mm-hmm. You can definitely tell it's a guy in a suit, but I absolutely loved that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I loved what they were able to do with it, and then of course black and white. I'm not a huge black and white movie watcher, but like I can handle it. But I'm like. You know what? I'm gonna watch the black and white movie versus today's colored movies.
Yeah, in regards to black and white, I was able to handle King Kong a bit better than this one.
Yeah.
To a degree. I think my only thing was just trying to it has to keep my attention on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know?
All right. Do you want to play a little game?
Sure, I'm in for a game.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit of some facts, and you're going to tell me if it's true or false or not.
Oh, boy.
So...
I'll probably be terrible.
I know. I'm basically setting you up for failure.
Yep. Thanks.
You're welcome. So, originally, the directors and the creators of Godzilla wanted to make it stop motion. True or false?
True.
It was true.
Yes.
Good job.
Yay!
Yes, so this film was heavily actually influenced by King Kong. True or false? You should get this one.
False?
No, it was true.
Ah!
See, that's why they wanted to do it stop motion in the first place.
Oh.
Yeah, they were influenced by King Kong, and they originally did want to make it stop motion, but the problem was that stop motion, as you know, is very time consuming.
Yes.
And heavy on the budget. That's a big budget thing to do, and there was not enough money in the budget to make the whole film. To have Godzilla's things with his size to be in stop motion. So that's how suitmation was created. They had a guy in a suit, and they made him, and built models of the city and all that. So, yeah. Okay, next one is... This one you should be able to get.
I hope.
The sound effect for Godzilla was they originally tried combination of several different animal noises. True or false?
False.
It is true.
Wait.
It is true. But you can redeem yourself by telling me what was the original roar How was that created?
You told me that was originally they took a speaker and they took a hand over it, and that's how.
Not a speaker. It was a giant violin bass string. Yes. Okay. So they dipped.
I remember part of it.
Yeah, you remember part of it. Yeah, they took a piece of violin string from a bass. They drenched it in something. I can't remember exactly what, but then they took a rubber glove and they scraped it along. And
might have been water.
I don't think it was. It was a special kind of thing. But anyway, they scraped it along, and that's how Godzilla's roar was made. Because, yes, true, they did try several different animal noises and combinations to get it, but it just couldn't. It just didn't work. Mm-hmm. And that's when eventually they got the idea, and that's how we got the voice.
Okay.
So, all right, now let's see. This is another... There's only a few more.
Okay.
Okay. So... True or false, Godzilla's name comes from a combination of two different animals in Japanese.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I should know this one. Really true.
It is true. Can you get some bonus points and guess which two animals that would be?
Well, I remember the pronunciation is Gojira, which one would possibly be lizard, right? I'm
gonna keep going.
Giant,
I want two different kind of animal guesses.
Okay. One was probably for I'm trying to think of it. I can't think of it on the top of my head. It's like a giant lizard, but they named it in regards to fire. Like a dragon. I can't think of it.
Okay, you give up?
Yeah.
Okay, the name of Godzilla is a combination of the animal gorilla and whale.
Oh, okay. I was far off. You were
way off.
I was like, woo!
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think I've done enough. Enough torture for you. But yeah, no, this movie was... Now let's get back to focusing on the movie, because I've got a little sidetracked. But again, I could talk about this movie a lot.
You could.
So let's go with the positive stuff now. For me, the biggest thing about this movie and why I love it so much is its overall theme, which you had struggled with.
I did. I had several in my head, but because it jumped around so much, I got... I wasn't necessarily confused, but I was just okay, this is happening here, but why does this
Like what?
Like, what does this have to do with the story?
Oh, okay. Why are we being introduced to these characters and
or this scene, or why are they showing
why are they showing this scene, like the hospital scene?
Yeah.
So the hospital scene there is, showing the aftermath of Godzilla's destruction. Mm-hmm. So kind of help connect people who are watching this, or if you're still watching the review right now. Mm-hmm. This film is heavily influenced by the bombings of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and the later nuclear bomb testings later on in the future, in the 50s. Because the overall theme is, the dangers of nuclear weapons. And that's how it came across to me and how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the overall theme is, the dangers of the power of nuclear weapons. And so Godzilla is basically the embodiment. So when they say, like, Godzilla is a product of nuclear weapons, it's another message of saying we by using nuclear weapons to, fight in war, we create terrible destruction, which basically Godzilla is the physical embodiment of that said destruction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because that's why we were shown those scenes of, like, they were scanning the footprints when they got to that island and showing that it was radiation. Because, as you know in history class, when you learn about, like, the nuclear bomb and the hydrogen bomb later on, that it caused a lot of radiation sickness for the people of Japan. Like, so even after it, like, wiped out hundreds of thousands of people, there were still people dying afterwards because of the effects that the radiation caused in the water and the soil, and it caused Japan, a lot of time to, get back on their feet.
Yeah.
Because of the destruction.
Yeah, it reminds me of a video I watched from a group of YouTubers that actually went to, it was a location in Germany, I believe, that had a radiation spill, and the government, like, denied it and all that. And it was still radiated there in certain places as the camera, like, reacted, and they had, like, these detectors with them. And they even had to be scanned before they left to make sure they weren't contaminated.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of get that now, because... Yeah, like, that was the biggest thing that I loved about the movie, like, its whole message of nuclear weaponry. And, whether we really need to be cautious with this, because this is the kind of stuff that could end the world.
Yeah.
And Godzilla being the physical embodiment, it's like, this thing can end the world if it wanted to.
Yeah.
Because guns didn't work. Electrical fences didn't work. And that's the other thing I just love watching, is just the stupidity. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't have known if a giant monster were to came out. If we had not gotten any Godzilla movies, and all of a sudden a giant monster's running around, it's like, quick, use guns, use our tanks, use our missiles, kill
everything we know that we have in our disposal.
Yeah, but of course that's not the case. We've seen Godzilla movies, so if we ever see a giant kaiju monster, big if we see a giant monster roaming around the United States or Tokyo, we're going to know, okay, guns won't work. But you know what? They probably still use guns.
They probably still use it to, like, to distract or, make sure.
But yeah, I digress.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of my favorite parts of the movie is, like, Godzilla's biggest scene is when he's destroying Tokyo. That was my personal favorite part of the movie. When we see his atomic breath for the first time. Albeit, it's not as strong as an effect as it would later become in the series of Godzilla movies, but it still worked for me, and I thought it was interesting that they couldn't put out the fires that it caused, and it was like, oh, well, it's a radiation fire kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, typical water might not work on it. Like, I think it's oil-based fires. If you try to pour water on an oil-based fire, it actually makes it worse.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like something like that.
Like a stove fire.
Like a chemical fire.
Yeah.
Like that. So I loved watching, like, the aftermath in that. But when I originally watched this for the first time, I didn't, like, expect it to get so, like, so heavy and dark, because the only thing I knew going into it at the first time watching was, like, I just knew the theme. I knew the theme that this is going to be about nuclear weapons and all that. And the ethics of, because we had that one scientist, Okomi, her name. I just forgot her name, and I was the daughter's father. Mm-hmm. Our main girl's father, like, he's a scientist and wants to research Godzilla.
Yeah.
And so that kind of, to me, that was the message of we need to research in nuclear power because, you know, it has a lot of good potential in it. But usually with anything there's good potential in, there's also bad things in it.
Yep.
And that would be how we get to our character, Dr. Serizawa. Mm-hmm. And honestly, as far as human characters go in Godzilla movies, these are probably my favorite set of characters we've gotten. Even in the American version, we had, what was his name? Hang on, I gotta look real quick. But his name was Raymond Burr. Raymond Burr was the American actor they put in when they did the American version. Mm-hmm. And honestly, even though I feel like the American version lost a lot of that substance and the message and the theme in there, I really enjoyed Raymond Burr's performance in that movie because it kind of helped like the American audiences at the time kind of understand what was happening.
Connect a bit more.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, because that was the original worry, and that's why they renamed it from Gojira to Godzilla, King of the Monsters, because they would be lost on American audiences. Mm-hmm. So yeah. But yeah, no, my favorite part of it was I love his suit design, and I love the fact that they kept that along, because, okay, time for another true or false. Did you know? Now, okay, so, true or false? And I pretty much gave away the answer, I feel like, but let's see.
I hope I was paying attention.
Originally, they wanted to make Godzilla a giant octopus.
I feel like I'm going to fail. I'm going to say false.
It's true.
Ah.
It is true. Oh, I'm so sorry, honey.
Yeah, you should.
I thought I would have given that away by saying, no. Guess what?
But I wasn't paying attention then.
Okay, yeah, but anyway, so yeah, I'm really glad they went to the dinosaur thing, because I don't think Godzilla would have been as cool as any kind of if it was a giant octopus. No offense to octopi. But, yeah. But yeah, no, did you at least like the way he looked?
It was okay.
It was okay, especially since you know what later on down the line how his formation would change.
There was one part that I laughed at.
Yes, and that one I will admit I also laughed because I think it's funny. Go ahead, I'll let you have the enjoyment of saying it.
Okay, so there's one part where they're fighting back against him, right? Where
they're fighting him and he's breathing his atomic fire.
He's breathing. It looks like he has Cookie Monster eyes.
Yes. Cookie Monster eyes.
That was him who said it.
I said it because I'm like, I forgot about his Cookie Monster eyes. Well, they had to make his pupils really big for some other reasons. One of the behind the scene reasons somebody said online was like the radiation caused huge cataracts in Japanese eyes. But also the fact that they had to make it so big that you could actually see it on screen. Otherwise, it looked like he had no eyes.
Yeah.
It's fair enough. So yes, it's goofy. It's goofy, I'll admit. Yeah, it's funny, but I like that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then a little bit more, and then we'll get to the Twitter stuff, because I think we've pretty much said everything we needed to say.
Pretty much.
And then we'll get to final verdicts. So. Okay. Nobody tweeted to us, which is okay. That's okay. Not a lot of people have seen this movie. It's old. It is old. It is 60.
I know. I'm just keeping it dramatic.
It's 65 years old, I want to say.
Yeah.
So it's pretty old.
Okay.
And so not a lot of people have seen it.
Yeah.
But luckily, I know a guy on Twitter who has the account Let's Talk Godzilla, which I recommend you follow if you're a Godzilla fan, because he's been doing a whole lot of cool stuff for the build up to the release of Godzilla King of the Monsters. And on day one, he started talking about the film. So I'm pulling up some of the thread, and I'll show you some of those tweets that people have said about the movie. So after my tweet, he responded to me and said, it's a fantastic film. Very deep and emotional. I still love King of the Monsters. Raymond Burr is a very good actor. So I was talking about Gojira, and the American version was called Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, no, I agreed with his assessment. It's it is a fantastic film, and it's very deep and emotional because there's a lot of emotion out of it.
There was a lot of emotion, definitely. When we went and saw it.
The aftermath. No,
yeah.
The aftermath of
Oh yeah, like during and the aftermath.
For you, because like you got that, at least you got that sense of feeling, you got that part of it, even though you kind of lost the message of it, but you did, at least you got the emotion of the scene, which is important.
Yeah.
So next I'll have you read Caleb Lowry's.
He said, amazing, I own this on VHS and it got me hooked on all things kaiju since then. I always dug the tie in where the original Godzilla skeleton is used for Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah, so, and later in the series, like, the movie was called Godzilla Against Mecha Godzilla, and in that film is where they took the original Godzilla bones and used it to create a new Mecha Godzilla, which I also love that tie-in. I thought that was a great way to, build a new Mecha Godzilla, and thought, that was a really unique way of doing that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, for those of you kids who might be watching this, I doubt any kid is watching this, because they'll probably think I'm boring and nerd, but, those a VHS tape is what we had to use before DVDs.
Yes.
Though kids are smart. I'm sure there's plenty of kids who know what a VHS tape is.
I know, but still.
Okay. So we got 2 more tweets, and then we'll give our final verdict of the film.
Tweeting.
Really? This one's from the Let's Talk Pitches account. He says, or she says, I don't know if it's male or female, but the comment is, good movie. It's obvious they never intended it to become the titan of kaiju movies it would become. I like the classic Goji design. Simple, and few have deviated from the classic design, spines, tail, atomic breath. Definitely agree with that. I do. I love the original design of the monster, and that I love the fact that throughout the time, I'm not talking about you, Godzilla 1998, but they've kept the overall design pretty much throughout the entire history of Godzilla's existence. And I bet they had no idea how big and iconic this was going to become.
Probably not. I
mean, this movie has spawned a lot of things. It's like a still part of huge pop culture. They made a song. There's a song by the Oyster Blue Club. I think I got the band name right, but they made a song for Godzilla, and I love that. And they've remade the song for this new movie that's coming out, and I can't wait to hear it on the big screen. Crystal, I will let you have the honor of reading the last comment, and as I cannot talk, so I'll let you read these.
So this is by Corey Keepers. The original was also one of the first movies to scare me to my core. At the time, my family didn't make much money, so we got movies from the library. I was 5 to 6 and had seen many Showa films when my parents picked up the original, and I was not prepared for how dark that film was.
And then later on he'd say...
And it was that experience that I likely led to my continuous love and respect for this series I may not have otherwise.
Yeah. So, I agree with you there, Corey. Man or woman, I don't know. But yeah, I totally agree with you. That I've seen some of the goofier ones. I've seen a lot of the older ones. I've seen the clip of Godzilla doing this. And this. So yeah, I know how goofy he can be. But honestly, I love those stuffs because that, to me, is hilarious. But so when I would see this film, I was taken aback a little bit when I first saw it. Because, I wasn't expecting, how, it got a lot of emotion out of me the first time I watched it. Because, the aftermath and the connections to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, those bombings, and what it did to the Japanese people. Mm-hmm. So... yeah, this film is very impactful, and I think it's still... I feel like if any Godzilla fan is out there who has never seen this movie, because A, they might have had trouble finding it, I highly recommend you find somebody who owns it, or go to your local library, see if they have it. I don't know if they still do. I kind of doubt it, but you might be surprised. But yeah, it's out there now, and it's a little easier to find. I recommend it. I highly recommend you see this movie at least once in your life. This is like, if I was a college professor, this is the one movie out of all my movie collection that I would make my students watch, because I think it's a great movie. So, with that being said, let's go ahead to final verdicts.
Okay.
Crystal, I will let you have the honors of going first. Out of 5 berries, in your honest opinion, regardless how I might feel about it, what would you give the movie?
I would give it a 3 out of 5.
How could you? I'm just kidding. 3 out of 5 is more than fair.
Okay.
It is more than fair. I know this was a hard one for you to get through, because, again, it's mostly because you said it's
pretty, like, it was made... blah, blah, I can't speak now. It's dated. So if it doesn't, like, catch my interest or anything, then I usually, like, fall out. And I tried to keep my attention on it, but it was...
And you did. I thought you did a good job. You did a good job. You did it for me. And that's why she's, like, the best wife, because she watched this film just because she loves me. So... that's why she is awesome. And plus she knew I didn't want to review this on my own.
No.
But yeah, no, like, I think that's a fair score. Because, again, like I said at the beginning, kaiju, the kaiju series kind of thing, I feel like is a hit or miss for people.
Yeah.
Like, you're either into it, or you're okay with it, you might watch it on occasion, or I don't care for it. Get me out of it.
Like, I'm into it in regards to the more modern ones.
Yeah.
Because that's how...
I was talking, like, the kaiju series and overall.
Yeah.
It's like I said at the beginning. Some people, yay! Some people, oh, okay, why not? Or,
nay.
No!
No!
It's stupid! It's corny! It's cheesy! It sucks! I haven't met a lot of people like that, luckily. So now, without further ado, let's get to my score. I'm going to give it 2 different scores here, like we did back in our Hercules in New York score that Sam did. So, in my honest opinion, with the fact that it's a bit dated, I give the film a comfortable... this is going to be like, everybody's like going to point out, like, this is the score I give almost every film.
Yeah.
4.5.
It's
not
kidding.
Perfect.
I'm
it's
just
not
kidding.
perfect. But I can never give it a 4, because I think it's still good enough to get up to that 0.5 part. But yeah, 4.5. But out of sentiment, that's 4.5. So our total score comes up with
7.5.
7.5. But now I'm going to give you my sentimental score, which is, I guess you probably already figured it out, 5 out of 5. I'm going to give it a sentimental 5 out of 5, because in my heart, this movie, I love this movie. It's a huge influence on me and of why I love Godzilla. I was so happy to get it back when I could. And, you know, it's a lot of sentimental. And honestly, it's the best Godzilla story for me. It sticks out. It's still strong to me. But yes, I know it's dated. That's why I can't give it a perfect score in my head wise. But my heart's like, it's a 5 out of 5. So there's my sentimental score. Its total score for us is 7.5. I told you guys that Sam and I were going to review it, but Sam's been having trouble scheduling it with me. So eventually I will make him watch it too. But he'll give his later opinions on it at some point, and I will make him record those opinions. So, because I told him, okay, we won't review it with you, but you're going to watch this, and you're going to give me somewhat of an opinion for people to see. So, that's it. The next review you see from us is going to be Godzilla, King of the Monsters, the 2019 version.
Yes.
So, we're super pumped for it. She's seen some of the trailers because we watched some movies that showed it in the theater. I was actually out of the theater to avoid those. But yeah, I'm super pumped. There's been a lot of positive reactions so far. So, with that being said, like the video. Rate the video. Leave a comment below. Follow us on Facebook or Twitter. And we will see you next time on Razz My Berry Reviews. Bye.
Bye.
can't end the review yet! There's one last point you didn't mention! Past me! One last thing I absolutely love about the movie.
Yeah.
The score. Here's a little tiny bit of it, but I can't play the whole thing because of copyright. And let's end the video. Bye!